All right, what's up, everybody? This is DC Sports for Life. This is B.
And I'm D, baby.
That's right. And I told you we would be back. We're going to do one today talking about training camp. Unfortunately, we do have to talk about Tunsil. I did a little emergency pod yesterday. So if you are watching this and you haven't seen that, go check it out. Just talking about some of the options and stuff like that. But we're going to cover that again today, right now with D, since I did a solo yesterday. So D, I'm gonna let you start off with the news. With everybody knows by now, if you're a fan, Laramie Tunsil, anywhere. I'm just gonna call it 3 to 6 months. Um, that's kind of what I'm going with. So where are you at right now? I know when I talked to you yesterday, you were doom and gloom. So
Yeah.
so obviously not happy, but let me know where you're at.
Well, I've been back and forth on this. My initial reaction was, being overly emotional. You lose your Pro Bowl left tackle. But, like I was kind of saying before, Jaden Daniels' rookie year, we didn't have him and we had success. So the hope is that we can plug somebody in there, whether it be Andrew Wiley or Brandon Coleman, and they can just be serviceable and good enough. But now that makes the center position come into play now, come into focus um, with the situation right now with Allegretti
Right.
having the calf injury. Now two-fifths of your offensive line. I mean, now it's more important that we get Allegretti back, and hopefully he can play at a high level because,
Yeah.
man, that's not good, man.
Yeah. And like I had said yesterday on the thing, there's different options. You mentioned Wiley. To me, he's not an option. Um,
Nah.
he's garbage. I'm sorry. We saw enough of him at right tackle, and he was terrible. Um,
Yes.
so that's why they got Connerly. A lot of fans are talking about switch Connerly to left tackle. I don't really want to do that. You have a left tackle that you drafted in the third round. I
Hmm.
think I responded to somebody yesterday on X, counting his first 2 years. He's got I think it's 34 starts at left tackle, and 11 starts, 12 starts between the two guard positions, even through college. Talking about Brandon Coleman. Um,
Yep.
so he's somebody that has started, between college and the NFL, he started 30 plus games. Um, he like any rookie, just like Connerly, started off bad, got better as the year went, played admirably, I thought. And I thought we had
Oh,
a real
definitely.
chance for him to be a good left tackle for us. Obviously, you get the opportunity to add Tunsil. Um, he becomes kind of irrelevant. I answered this one guy on X yesterday that was kind of down on Coleman, talking about he can't even beat out Chris Paul for the guard position. And that's when I broke down how many starts that Coleman has had at tackle, because that's his natural position. Just because
Yep.
you sit there and say, just because people say he projects to be a guard, doesn't mean that he can be a guard.
Right. That's a projection.
Exactly.
Right.
So yeah, we would have loved that. We would have loved, having him as a third round pick, solidify the left guard position, as somebody, especially in the zone blocking scheme, that can get out and run, because obviously Chris Paul can't. But now to me, you're looking at two options, and two options only. Number one, you have Brandon Coleman come in, and he's your left tackle, and that's what it is. You roll with it and you go. Um,
Yep.
Number two, which I would think that David Blau has already made the phone call to Taylor Decker to see if he's interested in coming and playing in Washington. Taylor Decker knows the offense. He played with David Blau in Detroit, so David Blau knows him. And he's not even 33 yet, which, as we know, tackles can play, you
Into
know,
the 30s.
into their mid to late
Uh,
30s.
yeah.
Um, I would sign him anyway just to see what he's got left in the tank. But again, he's got to want to do that. He may not want to. Um, but I would bring if he's willing, I would bring him in just to have him compete, and even if he's the backup or a spot starter, or like they were doing with Coleman, if you remember when he first started out, they were rotating him and
Hmm.
Leno, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, they were rotating them. So I mean, just like with the Stephon Diggs thing, I look at it the same way. You can never have enough talent, and this proves it. And I'm not trying to stifle anybody with Coleman or whatever. I'm trying to make sure our offensive line is not a sieve that gets Jaden Daniels killed.
yeah. I agree 100%. Brandon Coleman was our left tackle, Jay Daniels' rookie year, when they were, subbing him and Leno in and out, but he got some valuable reps,
Yeah,
and he, like you said, he did serviceable. He has upside.
yeah,
Um, Thinking about it now, he is more of a true tackle. That's what he was in college.
yeah.
If he can come in and hold down the fort, obviously he's not Laramie Tunsil. Well, not many people are Laramie Tunsil.
Right, exactly.
So if he can just come in and do admirable and play up, to his capabilities, and everything else plays out, that we should be fine. I mean, yeah, it's a big blow, but you just next man up mentality and you move on, and it's
Yeah.
professional football, man. Next man up.
Yeah, I mean they just had I just saw today Dylan Raduns, tackle guard from starter from New Orleans, just tore his ACL, out for the year. Um,
Yeah,
so injuries are happening. I guess the saving grace is, it's not an ACL, you know.
right.
Um, and I was saying on the emergency pod yesterday, if you remember, like Brandon Sheriff when he tore his bicep, um, after that, I believe it was Sheriff. Basically, just put on once he came back and just put on a big ass brace.
Yeah,
Had a big arm brace. Somebody had posted that Jonathan Allen was back in, I think he said 11 weeks. Um,
yeah.
and same thing, he wore that big ass brace. So you never know. Different bodies respond differently. So I don't know. It sucks, because I was gonna have some interesting thoughts about the season, but I'm gonna hold off now. I am gonna
As
ask
well
you.
you should.
Yeah. I am gonna ask you. Have you heard anything on Amos?
No, that's just it. I've been looking up on it. I've been checking it out, looking on, trying to find something on social media. I haven't heard anything on it. So I guess no news is good news, because I guess the way I see it, if it was anything of any consequence, we'd see it. It would pop up.
That's what I
It's so
figured.
strange.
Yeah,
It's
they
so
got
strange.
the update on Tunsil, which I didn't expect to get until Monday. Um,
Yeah, there's nothing. It's almost like, like you said, it could have just been cramps.
yeah, yeah. There's nothing. Just googling him, there's nothing on here. So we're gonna go with like I had said on the pod yesterday. Basically, I read people were saying it wasn't injury related, that it was cramps.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what it was. So okay, that's enough of the sad injury stuff. Um, Give me your take on training camp so far.
All right. Well, and we always take this with a grain of salt,
Right,
that, training camp is what it is.
right,
Many, I'll just say that, you hear about players playing well in training camp, and then in the regular season, you don't ever hear from. But having said all that,
yeah,
everything that I'm seeing and everything I'm reading up on and everything I'm staying up on and getting, you know, the defense was ahead of the offense in the beginning, which it normally is.
right,
Um, People are saying that you could see the freakishness of Sonny Styles come out.
yeah,
You can see the edge rushing ability of Owe and Chason.
yep,
That flashed.
yeah,
I've been hearing that too.
yep,
Um, and that's good to hear,
yeah,
because it's training camp, sure. But like we all know, our biggest bugaboo last year, or one of our biggest bugaboos last year, excuse me, was, of course, our lack of pass rush
yeah,
and just how unathletic our linebackers are.
right,
Enter Chanel and Styles, and hopefully you now have youth and athleticism that we've talked about before to
Right.
help mitigate that problem. And then obviously with Chason and Owe and getting Dorrance Armstrong back, we can
Right.
resemble some type of a pass rush.
Right.
It doesn't have to be top two or three in the league, but
Right.
it has to be moderate. It has to be good enough to where teams just can't sit back there and pick us apart.
Yeah.
So that's I'm hearing good things from that. Obviously, offense where you're hearing about Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin, and yeah, that's nice. And I'm hearing Traylon Burks is doing his thing, and Antonio Wayne. I'm hearing great things about the third round rookie. He's
Yeah.
getting separation. Is everything that we said when we did our pod about our draft picks. And I
Yeah.
remember talking about how excited we were about Antonio Williams.
Yeah.
That's coming to fruition because you're seeing it now in training camp. His
Yep.
route running ability, his ability to separate, his
Yeah.
hands. These are all things that we thought we would see, and we're at least seeing in a training camp. Hopefully, it translates to Sundays in the league,
Right.
and it's very exciting. Um, and everything seems to be going well. From what I'm hearing, on the offense has started to catch on a little bit. Remember, defense started up first; they were kind of doing their thing, but
Yeah.
now the offense has gotten going over the last week and a half or so,
Yeah.
and Jaden Daniels is making plays with their receivers. They're starting to hit stuff pretty good, and really kind of get into that gear, getting ready for preseason and then eventually the regular season.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I'm kind of going to go first when we first talk about. I'm going to go with what I've heard with the coordinators. Um, I've
Mm-hmm.
heard good things from the players, which you always do, but I've also heard from like the offense, like the way they line up with that Minnesota style where you don't know who's blitzing. Um, that has been confusing for our offense as well it is. I mean, Minnesota's defense is a good defense, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the kind of way they play it, where they line up, 5 to 7 guys on the line, and you don't know who's coming. And
Yeah.
like you said, with having Armstrong back, with having Chason, with having Owe, with having Styles, with having Chanel, the speed, Luvu, all of those things, anybody could be coming at any time and that's exciting. We've heard about being an attacking defense, and yes, Joe Witt probably wanted to attack more, but we didn't have the personnel. Um,
Mm-mm.
I can't blame it all on him. Everybody wants to poo-poo him, and maybe so, but he didn't have the horses to run the defense that he wanted to run. Um, so that side of the ball, I think, is very exciting. I think they're going to create pressure from different angles. I read one thing where they had Reeves lined up over the outside receiver, and he blitzed, and they had, I think it was Rasul Douglas was playing safety. So he was like going to cover the guy that the outside receiver that Jeremy Reeves left. Um, so that's the kind of stuff that is exciting to me that they're mixing and matching and they're going to put different people in different positions instead of when we had the 4 first-round picks on the defensive line, all they wanted to do was rush the 4 people and play back in coverage. And if the 4 guys didn't get to them, then we were just giving up yards after yards after yards. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so really excited about that. The offense, I'm hearing good things about that as far as the trick plays that are probably going to be prevalent. The play actions and the boots. I think
Mm-hmm.
Jaden on the boots is gonna kill it. Um, I think that more of a West Coast style of offense, zone running. Um, that kind of suits today's NFL. And I think David Blau is going to work out fine. I think he's going to take the opportunity and run with it. Um, I'm going to ask you something now. What is your thoughts on Quan Martin?
Mm. I don't know, man. I I have very mixed emotions on Quan Martin, so I'm just going to take a wait and see approach.
Right.
Obviously, he's one of the rare leftovers from the previous era.
Yeah.
But I hope the best. I want him to. I want him to succeed, And if he doesn't, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, we brought in Nick Cross to add some more talent at safety,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to take a wait and see approach with him. I don't, he's so frustrating because he'll flash, and then you're like, "Where's Quan Martin at?" And then 3 or 4 weeks go by, and he'll flash again.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what to make of it. I hope the young man works out, and we'll see. And I'm just going to reserve judgment,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And it's crazy because, people take being down on somebody and critiquing somebody as we don't want them to succeed. Just like
Right.
I had this guy on X that was talking about all the hate for Dylan Cruz, and we talked about Dylan Cruz. I told you I thought he
Right.
was the bust.
Right.
I don't want him to be a bust.
No.
Okay, and same thing with Quan Martin. I don't want Quan Martin to not work out. We
Right.
drafted him what in the second round.
Yeah. Second round
Second round safety. As you said, he's flashed. He had a pick six in the Detroit
playoff game.
playoff game.
Hmm.
Um, you know, obviously we're better if he performs. For whatever reason, the wires aren't connecting,
Mm.
and that could just be that we didn't know what we were doing when we were drafting with
Yeah.
Ron Rivera and company.
Hmm.
And I think it shows to the point of from what I've been reading, Jeremy Reeves right now is the starting free safety.
That's
Um,
that's insane.
yeah. Um,
Oh, yeah.
they said he's been running with the ones and
Yeah.
other dudes, Quan Martin's been running with the twos, threes, and fours. Um, so and from what people are saying, the DC media, when they kind of asked Durante Jones about Quan Martin, like when he first started out, he was really excited about Quan Martin. He mentioned him specifically in his opening interviews. Now, not so much.
Nah.
Now, I think he's seen all he needs to see. I think you can stick a fork in him. I think he's done. I think he probably is going to be cut because they're running Terrell Owens as kind of a big nickel.
Yeah,
Um,
the big nickel. Yeah.
and they got Jeremy Reeves at free, and they love Percy Butler on teams. So
Yeah.
I think Quan Martin,
Yeah. And then of course Nick Cross, of course, would be the strong.
yeah, yep.
Um.
So
Yeah. I mean, it's quite
that's my
possible.
thoughts. I might
Yeah.
be wrong, but I think Quan Martin's going to have a big preseason for him to scale his way back up the mountain because I really think Durante Jones ain't too impressed with him.
Well, like I said, he would be. I mean, all the people that we've lost from the Ron Rivera era would just be another one bites the dust. As far as
Yeah,
if that
yeah.
happens, and it is
It's
what it is.
yeah, it's not like we've talked about it, and I've said it on here. We've said it before. I don't give a damn about the name on the back of the jersey. You know,
Nope.
if Jeremy Reeves gives us the best opportunity, that dude is a self-made player. Um,
Self-made.
and he works and works and works and doesn't stop. You got to love that. So if he
Yeah.
gives us the best opportunity, then play him. I do
Yep.
think free safety needs to be addressed next year. Um,
Yes.
we need to get ourselves a legit free safety, whether it be free agency or whether it be second, third, fourth round of the draft. Somebody that's going to plug right in and say, "This is my starting free safety," and damn the games with it. But that's something for
Yeah.
next year. We just make do with who we have right now. Um,
Right.
I mentioned Tyler Owens. I do think that's pretty interesting. Um, he's big and he's fast. So I guess a lot of teams run kind of a variation of a big nickel. I think we called it the Buffalo nickel with Quinn and Witt Jr. And then now they just call it a
Mhm.
big nickel. Um, so, you know, hey, if it works, it works. I don't have a problem with whoever they put in there as long as they're getting the job done. If they see something in him and he can handle the position that they want him to do, more power to him. And maybe him as a what I don't know fifth or I think it was a fifth round pick or something.
He was a fifth rounder. Yeah.
Maybe he comes through and that's what good teams do. Good teams find kind of specimens in the fifth through seventh rounds, and they have them on special teams, they have them on the bench, they have them learning. And then the hope is that one day you can implement them into the defense. If
Hmm.
this is the case, then that would be a success story. He would be a fifth round pick. He learned, he learned, he learned. And now with this new scheme, you're able to implement him in there. So that would be an A plus at that point.
Oh yeah, I agree, 100%. And I think as far as what you want to see from training camp on both sides of the ball, obviously, um, the defense needs to be, much better than last year. It doesn't have to be top three, top five, but you're
Right.
hoping that the defense can hit the ground running. I mean, obviously, our first three games of the season, at Philly, at Dallas, and in Seattle, we need to be peaking early.
Right. Right.
And so hopefully we're getting valuable reps. Jaden's getting valuable reps. The offensive line, the receivers are kind of getting vibes off each other, getting
Yeah.
ready, and hopefully they do what they're supposed to in the preseason so they can hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Because again, we start the season off wide open.
Yeah.
Two straight divisional games, the NFC East and then Seattle.
Yeah.
So you want Jaden to be comfortable with his receivers, comfortable with the offense. You want the receivers to know where to be at, what Jaden wants to do. They got to be thinking ahead. And then defensively, obviously, you want guys flying to the ball. You want guys getting after the quarterback.
Yeah.
Everything that we need to happen for us to compete this year.
Yeah, and just like you mentioned, you want people ready and stuff. I don't think it's a coincidence that we have been complaining, and a lot of other people in media, social media, complaining about how soft they kind of have been the past couple years with Dan Quinn running the training camp. And seems like, just from what I've heard, it's not nowhere near as soft as it has been. Uh,
No, 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 no.
I think he sees it that whether you think he's on the hot seat or not, who knows? Josh Harris could, have a long leash. But I think he senses that he messed up because we just weren't ready when the season came.
Mhm.
Now, that doesn't mean, have Jaden play a whole bunch in the preseason. Um, that means he does need to play. I would play him since there's only three, I would play him in the first two games. I would play him a quarter and I would play him a half. Um, I,
Yep.
would, I wouldn't run him at all. And I would tell him that unless, you have to, do not run. And if you do run, you slide or you get out of bounds. Um,
Right.
so that's something that, we'll see whatever they decide to do. I know somebody asked them when they were doing the opening press conference for the training camp start, and they asked him and Adam Peters, Dan Quinn and Adam Peters, and Dan Quinn kind of said, "Look, we haven't even thought about how we're gonna play it with time in the preseason. Right now, we're just getting started with our installs and all this other stuff for training camp. So." We'll get into that later on, which is a good answer. But I think most people wanted to hear, hey, it's a new offense. Jaden's going to play a quarter. Jaden's going to play a half, and our starters won't touch the field in game three. Um,
Mhm.
so who knows how it's going to go with that? But I think he definitely needs to get in there, get some game rhythm in to be able to have our best opportunity to knock off the Eagles, because I think that's our best shot on the first two games.
Yeah.
I think we can match up with Seattle. Seattle, I know what they did to me. Don't think I'm a homer when I say that. I know what they did to us. Okay, that was a scenario where everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah.
And I I don't think they were as good as what they showed on that game, and we aren't as bad at that time as we showed.
Probably not. No, I agree with
And,
that.
and now with our new defensive style, our new offense and offensive style, with adding Stephon Diggs, with adding Chig, I think that we got something for him. I honestly think we can be in every one of those games and have an opportunity to win all three of them. Not saying we will. I'm saying we can have an opportunity to win all of them. And I'm going to say it right now, August 9th, 4:50 p.m. West Coast time. We're going to beat the Eagles.
Okay.
Week
I,
one,
I'm gonna say
week one we're
I'm
beat.
gonna say we're gonna lose. I'm gonna say we're gonna lose to the Eagles. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it right now, and I'm not saying that the season's over, but I think we start 0-3. I'm just
Wow.
I'm saying we start 0-3. I think we start 0-3, and I think we make a surge to make it interesting. But I think that with the center position still being up in the air right now,
Right.
losing Tunsil, already having the toughest schedule really through the first 3 weeks of anybody in the league,
Right.
the lack of just our lack of success at Philly and at Dallas, and then having to play the Super Bowl chance. I'm just going to say it right now on August the 9th, 0-3. Now, hopefully, when we do our pod throughout, we'll be doing pods throughout the season. You could go ahead and get on me and say, "What were you talking about, D? Look at you, you little negative Nelly. You was wrong." And I hope you do that.
Right.
But I'm just saying right now, 0-3 is staring us in the face, and I'm predicting 0-3.
I'm
And
gonna
then we'll see what happens.
I'm going Homer mode. I'm gonna say two and
Okay.
one. I think
Okay.
I think
Okay.
we
I
beat the
like it.
Eagles. I think we lose to the Cowboys in a close one, and I think we beat Seattle. Um,
Okay.
because I just don't think Seattle really added a whole bunch. I think they lost more than they added, and I think we're a much better team than what they've seen from us. And I think we got a lot of get back to get from that last game where we made Sam Darnold look like
Yeah.
vintage Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty
so
much.
I'm gonna say we're gonna go 2-1. That's what I'm gonna. This wasn't planned. I wasn't planning on making
No,
predictions,
nah,
but
I wasn't. Hey, well, we ad lib. We can pivot.
yeah, yeah. So that's what we're gonna say. So
Okay.
sticking with training
Okay.
camp though,
Yep. Yep.
who is on offense?
Hmm.
Who is your kind of guy that you're watching right now?
Well, for me, there are two guys. It's Antonio Williams
Right.
and it's Rashad White. And the
Okay.
reason why I say Rashad White is because he's kind of penciled in as the number two or slash 1B running back.
Right.
Because Krosky Merritt's kind of penciled in as sort of the de facto starter, but they're going to be doing kind of a running back by committee. But I
Yeah.
think Rashad White has a chance to kind of be the Austin Eckler of 2 years ago for us.
Right.
And I think he has a chance to have such a sneaky, under the radar impact for
Yeah.
our offense.
Yeah.
And I really want to see how he develops in that David Blau offense.
All right.
He has a chance I think he has a chance to make a big, and you talked about him a lot last year
Yes.
about us going after him, and you predicted us getting him, and we did get him.
Yes.
And I'm really looking at him and his comfort in that offense. And then, of course, Antonio Williams, the rookie that everyone's been just raving about. How does he fit into the offense? How comfortable is he in his rookie year? Is he going to get the targets? Is he going to get, I don't know, comfortable with Jaden and really make an impact? So those two guys, I've really got my eyes on, seeing what they can do, how comfortable they are in this David Blau offense moving forward.
Definitely. And the
Yeah.
Rashad White thing, what's interesting to me is I've been hearing a lot of Krosky Merritt catching the ball out of the backfield
Yeah.
down in practice. Which like I said, kind of is a change because we figured, like I said, Krosky Merritt is your kind of workhorse, and then you bring in Rashad White as your change of pace back and your third down back. But I think it's more like you said. I think they're getting them ready to be 1A and 1B. I don't think there's
Hmm.
necessarily a starter. I think they're going to go with both of them, and then whoever has the hot hand, they might ride them like that. So
Hmm.
I agree with that, and I like it.
Yeah.
I'm watching LMC, who's
Hmm.
having out of his mind, um, just out of his mind, training camp. Somebody on X the other day I responded to, they were comparing him and Jalen Lane being smaller receivers. It's like, dude, it might not look like it, but Christian McCaffrey's 6'2". You
Yeah,
know,
he's 6'2".
I mean,
Yeah.
he's taller than Terry McLaurin. So, I
Yeah.
mean, him and Jalen Lane completely different. Jalen Lane's 5'11". Um,
Yeah.
so I'm looking at him, the possible impact, and I think I said it on the pod last night, the kind of emergency pod that that I can see LMC kind of working his way into the de facto number two next year. If we don't re-sign Diggs, and obviously, I don't think Ayuk might never play in the NFL again because he
No.
shot himself in the foot. Um, so I'm looking at LMC, and I think on offense, other than him, um, I mean, I guess if I would go anywhere, I would go offensive line, and I want to see, Connerly now is more important now, so he needs to one
Yeah.
stay healthy, and two he needs to take a huge step forward,
Yeah.
because last year Laramie Tunsil didn't need help, so we
No.
would help out Connerly on that side, um, but now you may have to be helping out both sides. So
Yeah.
Connerly needs to take this and run with it and solidify himself as a top-notch tackle in the league. He's got the pedigree, he's got the stature, he's got the athleticism, he's got the strength. His body looks different. He looks like he's put on some muscle, got rid of some of the baby fat. So I think kind of boring, but I go offensive line. And I think Connerly, is what I'm going to be watching. Make sure one, he stays healthy, and two, that he kind of solidify that right side and kind of make it the strong point.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Yeah, Connolly, we talked about him the second half of last year. You
Yeah,
could see where he was getting better right in front of our eyes.
yeah,
And you started seeing why he was so coveted coming out of college
yeah,
and why a lot of people thought that it was surprising he was there at the last couple picks in the first round.
yeah.
And yeah, that's huge, dude. Like what he does and how he develops into year two is huge. I agree.
Yeah. And real
Yeah.
quick, we'll talk about defense. I'm going to start off. I heard something interesting that I hadn't really thought of. All the talk about the green dot. There was one practice that Frankie Louvu was the green dot, and
Yeah.
people were praising him. Defenders, defensive players were praising him about him getting people in the right position and getting things set up and the way he communicated and everything. So I think that's a great thing. That if you sit there and you have Luvu, you have Chanel that can do it, and you're trying to train Sonny Styles to do it, I think that's huge.
No, oh yeah, most definitely. And like I said, I mean, to me, just everything that I'm seeing, everything that I'm reading, just Sonny Styles. I mean, they're saying he's as good as advertised.
Yes,
They're saying that he's backing up what he did in college and what he did at the combine. You're seeing it in training camp,
yes,
flying to the ball, his just athleticism, his freakish nature, and then again the pass rushing
yeah,
in training camp is so much more dynamic than what it was. So
yes,
those are things that stick out to me, and those are things that need to be a staple for our defense
yes,
if we're going to compete in the
yeah,
NFC because we desperately need our defense to play. I mean, hell, average
yeah.
to
We
above
need,
average.
yeah. I think we need to be top 10 to 15
Yeah,
in the league to get to where we want to be, which is a lock for the playoffs. Um,
yeah,
I think if you don't in Jaden's third year, if you don't make the playoffs, this is a waste year.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so he made it to the NFC Championship game, surprised the world. And I even mentioned on the pod yesterday. Lewis Riddick was on with Dan Patrick's show, and Lewis Riddick's exact words were, "I expect Jaden Daniels to remind everybody who he is."
Yep. I saw that. I saw that bit. I watched it, and yeah,
Yeah.
he seemed confident. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and like I even said that as well. He's not a flash in the paint. He's not
No.
somebody that hasn't done it at a high level in college. He did it at a high level as a rookie in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, where he had to do a lot of it by himself. I mean, you look at
Yes.
some of those passes that he made, there wasn't much room, and he
No.
put it like exactly where it needed to be. So Jaden is going to be fine. Anybody that thinks otherwise, maybe you need to root for another team because Jaden is our franchise quarterback, and he is going to eventually, I believe, being a homer that I am, I believe he's going to lead us to the promised land. I believe we're going to get a Super Bowl from him.
It's very possible. It's definitely possible. I feel he has the pedigree. He's that dude. We saw it. He's not like I said, he's not just a one and done guy where he had one great year and then
Right.
he's going to regress. I really feel like he's special. And like you said, I mean, like Lewis Riddick said, he's going to remind people. And
Yep.
I'm confident in that. And I may have said that we're going to go 0-3, but that is no reflection on Jaden Daniels.
Right.
That's a reflection of the team as a whole and who we're playing and where we're playing them at. That's
Right.
no reflection negatively on Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is going to bounce back and have a hell of a season. And I'm looking forward to seeing it and what he does throughout the entire year. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So yeah. Okay. So that's about all the time we have today. So we'll probably do another pod next week. I guess after our joint practice, maybe. We'll set up for a pod after that.
yeah,
I will be actually in Virginia on Thursday night. So
yeah, baby.
I
Yeah.
guess well, you know what? Let's set up for next Saturday because the preseason game is Friday.
Yeah.
Um, unless when is the joint practice? Is it Wednesday or is it Thursday?
I think it's Wednesday.
Well,
I really think it's Wednesday.
If it's Wednesday, maybe we do a quick pod on Wednesday to talk about the joint practice, and then Saturday we set up while I'm in Virginia to do the pod talking about the preseason game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I'm down with that.
All right. Thanks everybody for
Bye.
watching. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, make a comment. Let us know what you think. Like I said before, plenty of times, if you want to argue about something, if you don't agree with, put it out there. We're respectful with the stuff, but we don't mind going back and forth with anybody and defending our points. We appreciate everybody watching. I'm B.
And I'm D and I'm out, baby.
All right, later.